Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Dubai Sevens. This one a semi-final matchup in the women's side of the draw. It is Australia, the defending champions, up against Fijiana, who have had an incredible tournament thus far, but they would love nothing more than to cause the upset here up against one of the favourites in the starting lineup for the Australians. It is going to be Tarita, Tegan Levi, Isabella Nasser, who is also one of the co-captains, alongside Madison Ashby, who also starts in this game, Maddie Levi, Faith Nathan, and also Hala Last Lady in the starting lineup. In terms of this Fijian side, it is Detafutu, we did see for their Women's World Cup just recently. Buleki is there, Hualo, Donu, also it is Adi Marina, or Adi Marinai, I believe it is. I always mispronounce her name. Ripia Lunisau, and also Thavuru, the last lady in the starting side. Fiji started with a hiss and a roar in this competition, getting themselves 2 wins over the USA as well as France. They did lose to New Zealand 31 points to the 12, but if they were to win this contest, they would book themselves a spot through to the final to rematch up against the Black Ferns. But Australia, they have a brilliant record in Dubai. They've had some solid enough performances throughout their group stage fixtures. They haven't got a Charlotte Caslick in this side at this point in time, but still some very great talent coming up through the rankings. And those co-captains of Isabella Nasser as well as Madison Ashby, both having great tournaments thus far. A lot of people picking Fijiana. I think people love an underdog. And that is one thing that has been so sad about the Sevens going down to 8 teams in the both men and women's divisions. It means that we don't get those massive underdog stories, although on the women's side we still get it a little bit more, which is fantastic. Currently, Fijiana have got themselves possession just on their own 22, looking to get it out wide to the near side of the field. Oh, she's in touch. Yeah, just running out there for Ngwalo. And we have got there, no offence, Aussies. As a bad that I'm kind of cheering for Fiji. I think that a lot of people love to see when it's not New Zealand versus Australia in the final, just because it happens every single leg, or at least it feels that way at the moment. But yeah, hopefully we do get to see some sort of upset along the way, although in this case I know that Australia are considered as the heavy favourites for this match, going away to the left-hand side, and the Aussies have got themselves the ball after that line-out was successful. Popped up into the hands of Madison Ashby. Has got, Tarita on her outside. She bumps off Ripia Lunisau. Bit of a size discrepancy there, and Maddie Levi, of course, anytime she gets her hands on the ball, it is such a danger for the opposition. Not quite going out to her yet. Running it forward, it was Tegan Levi, gives it off to her sister, and that will be the first try of the contest. Maddie Levi does get the Aussies on the board. And that is exactly what they would have been after the early try. Maddie Levi just taking a bit of an opportunity to catch her breath there. Straight between the posts, though, so a nice, easy conversion for the Australians, who will now take the lead in the semi-final. We have got there New Zealand versus Australia in the final. There's Zhang there. One of the Levi's played for Australia in the World Cup. It's a good question. I know that a couple of the Sevens ladies, I think they wanted to go over to the Union side of things, but I think the Union side was already pretty full. The only ones that we saw there was pretty much Charlotte Caslick, and she ended up injured. I think she was the only one who made the switch. I know, but yeah, Maddie Levi would definitely go all right in Rugby Union. She has got herself 212 tries in the Sevens setup. And Deadly Combo says Studs Razan, the Fijian number 12. Nehamu, who was great in the World Cup, isn't playing Fiji Sevens. Says all in the game. They've got a few of those ladies from the Rugby World Cup, but sadly, yeah, missing a few of those talented players in the mix as well. Tegan Levi ready to kick this one off. Only sitting with 5 minutes remaining in this first half, looking to get it to just go the 10. Maddie Levi trying to slap it back. Didn't quite get the bounce of the ball. That one into touch for Australia. Nasser, giving the death stare to the touch judge there. She was not happy with him calling that one out. Let's go the Aussie, says Dale there. And Aussie, we've got the heavy favourites. Are you calling them a fat, Hamish? Says Big Rig. I am not at all, but nice try. Only 2.5 minutes through. Fiji have scored more than 12 points versus Australia in the past 5 meetings, so that's actually a pretty good record to have. Not many sides have done that. And Australia certainly have scored a few points in recent times as well. It's going to be thrown in by Fijiana. Let's go over the top. Taken now. Torito. In fact, it's Madison Ashby picks it up. Now going off to the right-hand side. One more pass from Faith Nathan and going out wide. And now it is Tarita who does manage to score. It looks pretty dry in Dubai at the moment. She didn't really slide when she went over. Aussie's too good. Says, hey, no, yeah, it does look like it's going to be a clear-cut final at the moment between New Zealand and the Australians. It has happened many times before on the Sevens circuit, and it looks like it's going to happen again here in Dubai. Faith Nathan, it was just a draw and pass, nicely done into the hands of Tarita, and then finishes that one off for the Australians. Kick at the post is missed miles away to the side for Tegan Levi. That's going to make the score 12-0. Now let's go to the Black Foils and the Sail GP and the top of the hour. Says NZ Ride and Crazy how Australia are able to have a talent pool in 7s and 15s, given the prevalence of Aussie rules in rugby league in Australia. Yeah, like they did pretty decently throughout that Women's World Cup as well, the Aussies. Like I know that a few of the hugely talented prospects do go to league, a little bit similar to what we see in the men's side of things for rugby union and rugby league. There's that rivalry side of things, but now Fijiana with the ball around the halfway line. They do need to be the next side to score if they want any chance of being able to win this game. Good attack and run forward from Buleki, one of the bigger ladies out there in terms of height for the Fijians. Let's use every inch of it here. Nice sell of the dummy from Thavuru, but into the breakdown. Australia trying to get the steal, but the penalty goes against was Torita. She actually gets penalised quite a bit in this Aussie Sevens setup. Now passed across to Buleki. Cutting back in. Nice offload of Lunisau. One more pass. Cutting back inwards. And now Wallo, she does dive over. She wasn't held. Faith Nathan does argue with the ref, but it is going to be the penalty. Well, sorry, not going to be the penalty. It's going to be the try for Fiji. Faith Nathan asking for the penalty, but did not get it awarded. That's a good answer back from this Fijiana side. They needed some sort of points, and they've got it now. She landed hard on her face, to be fair. She got back up, though, and Wallo, and finished it off. Here they come, says Studs Race. Waka's my favourite player, says all in the game. Last year when Aussie won in Dubai, Stacey Waka was injured and never played. It is Nyalo's second try in Dubai. Miss kick from the Fijians. That is going to make the score now 12 points to 5. Still in favour of Australia. They do need another one, Fijiana. If they want to stay competitive in this contest, looks too easy for the Aussies. See, here's Big Rig. Okay, Fiji down 2 tries. This is when they start playing. And they love a comeback. This Fijiana women's side now passed across to the left-hand side, which I believe Australia have actually already made a sub here. With the 5.5 minutes gone in the match, Faith Nathan looping around, telling her to go through a gap. Bit of a rough pass, but it bounces into the hands of Tegan Levi, trying to get around Ripia Lunisau. Brilliant last-ditch tackle, another offload. Levi ends up dropping the ball. Lunisau going across there to the right-hand side. I believe the advantage would still be in play, but it's going to be play on, says the referee. Tegan, nope, they are going to back now for the initial scrum. 1 minute now remaining in this first half. Semi-final records. Fiji have played 6. They have only won the 1. They've got a 17% winning rate in their semi-finals. Australia have played 60. They've won 41. Of course, this current group of ladies have probably got about a 90%, if not maybe even higher, percent chance of winning most of their semi-finals. And often find themselves up against New Zealand, predominantly because they're just on the wrong side of the draw. It's always the final instead. Ball going to be fed in. That is a big push from the Australians, and they get themselves the penalty. Bit of a statement made at scrum time. Now 20 seconds remaining, and it looks like Australia going to go to this left-hand side. Ball on the outside. Here comes Maddie Levi. Ripia Lunisau gets fended in the head, trying to take her down. She does so. Levi gets back up, knocks the ball on, and that is going to be no try. That is brilliant work from Ripia Lunisau. He was probably giving up a good, I'd say, 30 centimetres of height and about the same in kgs to Maddie Levi. But Ripia Lunisau, she got fended in the face. She did not care. She kept on going and trying to get that tackle. That was almost about as big of an eye gouge as Eben Hetzebeth over the weekend. Too soon? Probably too soon. And then Maddie Levi trying to get back up to her feet and knocks that ball on. There's going to be the scrum feed now for the Fijians. Fiji ain't winning this one, are they? It's going to be tough. They're currently only a few metres out from their own try line. They're looking to run this one. This seems very risky. Madison Ashby, that could have been a penalty to Australia for leaving the feet for Fiji. That's an offside penalty advantage in favour of the Fijians. Oh, Ashby's hurt her spine. It's been cleaned out by one of the Fijian players. Looks like Fiji do not want to just kick this one into touch and call it half-time. They want one more try, and they're looking to shift it in a sideways direction. A little bit isolated, though, Big tackle made by Tegan Levi. In fact, it turns almost into a rolling maul. Good physicality shown. They do have to release. This one's still going on. 1 minute past the halftime break between these two sides. Inside ball to Ripia Lunisao. Rush defense. Good tackle made by Isabella Nasser around the chest of the Fijiana player. Looks like they're going to continue to try and run this one, Fiji. This is commitment at the moment. Definitely because they are playing with 6 ladies on the field. Looking like an injury here. Tita Vitu is going to continue running it though. And hey, Kiwi lads, how are you, mate? It's been a while. It has been a little while, Razor. Hopefully you are doing well. Now, oh, nice step almost through for Fiji. Getting back up was the Vuru. I'm just waiting for the right passing option. Donu going across again. Fiji have had probably about 15 phases to make approximately 20 metres, but now the space on the outside. She's going to get isolated as Maddie Levi is right on her. She tries to duck underneath Levi. She's left her feet there. It almost could have been the penalty in favour of Fijiana. Another tackle made by Maddie Levi. This has to be exhausting for these two teams. The bounce pass from Fiji. They've moved up to the halfway line. Ripia Lunisao trying to sell the Australian defence the wrong way. Another conversion miss, says Big Rig. And there, yeah, we're seeing a lot of them throughout Dubai. The post must be a little bit thinner than we are used to seeing. Now passed out wide. Good handling from Fiji. One more into the hands of Donu. Offloads. Maddie Levi. That one's gone backwards. Ball's there for Fiji and Australia. They win themselves the turnover, and everyone is absolutely exhausted out there on the field at the moment. Australia, the lady who did get the turnover, she can't even get back to her feet, Maddie Ashby. Now the question is, do Australia go for one more attack? No, they kick it into touch. They've said that's enough of that half. We'll go into the second. And they all look absolutely shattered. Says Studs Race, yeah, that was an insane tempo to be playing in Australia. They will feel pretty confident after being able to defend for about 3 minutes straight and not concede in that scenario. I see the inaugural Women's Lions Tour to New Zealand going. Sad to hear that the game won't be played at Eden Park. Says all in the game. Could be an intriguing one. We'll definitely have to try and cover it on the channel. Is it 2026 that it's happening all in the game, or is it 2027? There's a new Rugby 10s competition going on in the US. Says all in the game. And Sasha has the most tries for a Springbok fly half. Says hey no. And knackering game is rugby, says Big Rig. Definitely when it's played in humidity and heat, just makes it that little bit more challenging than a drink and a sit down, says Big Rig. And yeah, to be fair, looking at this game, whoever wins it, you would think would be a little bit more fatigued than New Zealand heading into that final now. So in a way, Fiji being so competitive here, if they weren't able to win, they have still sapped that gas tank of the Aussie Sevens side just that little bit more. Handy lead for the Aussies, says NZ Riot. Yeah, the 7 points. If Fiji got that conversion over, it could have been a different story. But with the fact that it is still that 7 point lead, you know, worst comes to worst, you're going to golden point. Now, second half is very close. We've still got the two men's semi-finals also taking place just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more coming up for the Sevens. We are covering the final for the ladies as well. The Ferns lost at Eden Park. Would that count as the end of its fortress run? Says Big Rig. Probably not. I think that they'd say in the end that it's the All Blacks record at Eden Park because the Blues lose at Eden Park all the time, but that doesn't count against them. Bit brutal. Sorry, Blues. They have also won quite a bit at Eden Park. But of course that is not international rugby, whereas the Black Ferns are. So I don't know what they'll try and label it as. Maybe. It might end up changing, but I think it's the All Blacks record at Eden Park. The Blues lose at Eden Park all the time. Says Studs Race. We were on the same page. Tell you what, that's a brilliant take from Fiji, and that is one part of their game that was talked about heavily by the coach of the Aussies, and that is the way that they are able to get themselves the retention of kickoff. But then the ball's stolen by Australia just the 5 metres out from the line. Isabella Nasser taking the quick tap. Maddie Levi waiting for this one on the outside. Maddie Ashby linking up with her. The Maddies are doing the job at the moment for the Aussies. Another big fend from Tegan, or in fact, sorry, from Maddie Levi. And it was a knock-on from Fiji, so it will be the scrum for the Australians. So respect me to it, says Studs Race. That was almost sneaking down the wing. A potential opportunity to be able to score. I will mention that next semi-final is going to be France versus the Australians. That one kicking off at, I believe it's 11:03 New Zealand time. Oh no, in fact it's 11:06, so 17 minutes away from that matchup taking place. Seeing more changes being made for the Fijians. They are still down by the 7 points with just the 6 minutes remaining on the clock. It's been such a fatiguing tempo, like I mentioned, throughout that first half. Playing an extra 3 or 4 minutes as well definitely would not have helped for these two sides. Hello, Hamish again. Welcome in. Hope Australia smash France, says Haino. Oh, that ball's going to be fired back from the Australians. Losing about 15 metres with that pass, but it is still in their hands. Taurida does find the offload. Fijiana defending well throughout this contest as well. I feel like they have come a long way just in this last season or so. Seem to have a great group at the moment. Ball on the inside. Look close to a forward pass. Another tackle made. And the breakdown. Hands were down initially for Fiji, and that is what the penalty will be for against Ditavutu. Now, taking it quickly again. Teo Hines going on the inside. Another chance to be able to score. Taurida gets smashed there in the tackle. And a great note. Hands on the ground again from Fiji. Getting a little bit too keen in those breakdowns at the moment for Fijiana. Now, another step for the Aussies. We've seen a little bit more impact off of their bench in this contest. The likes of a Heidi Dennis has done quite nicely. Maddie Levi now towards the corner. They will not catch her down the wing. And that is a crucial try scored here for the Australians. Fiji were just getting a little bit too close for comfort for this Aussie women's side. But that will now give them the lead, 17 points to the 5. Fiji are gone. Lots of walking, says Studs Race. Yeah, there wasn't much of a chase put in there from Ditavutu down the wing. Be nice if they didn't wait to being 2 tries down before trying, says Big Rig. And Yo says, Chris, welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. We've still got the men's semi-finals around the corner. It is Australia versus France. And then alongside that, we get to see Fiji versus New Zealand, which is just an absolutely huge game for a semi-final. It's the type of match people would love to see as a final matchup instead. But not the case. And this one, Maddie Levi, tournament tries. She is at the top of the bunch. Ramsey in second with 6. Oh no, in fact, they're actually tied with 6 at the moment, these two. But 4 minutes remaining. Still both sides starting to reach a little bit more of a slower, methodical pace. Fiji versus New Zealand, can't wait for that, says Krish. Yeah, we are only sitting around 40 minutes away from the kickoff of that contest. And the ball game, says Big Rig. Now, line out for the Fijians, the Vuru. Are only 22 metres out from their own line here. So 1 try before 2 minutes remaining. I would say that they've got a decent chance of at least being close to coming back or finishing within 7. But they have to take a couple risks here, Fijiana. They can't afford to just allow Australia to keep that lead and not put them under that little bit more pressure. That's going to be a risky line out. Nicely taken, though, by Fiji. There's a lot of contesting going on from the Australians, but the ball still pops out on the side of the underdogs. Passed across, bounce pass. Thought about the inside ball. Bit of a miscommunication, it looked like, from Fiji, but Ripio Lunisau gets it back in the right direction. Big shot coming in from Tegan Levi, who manages to get the steal again. Maddie Levi going back across to the right-hand side. Bit of space now on the counter-attack for the Australians. They go straight through. It's Tia Hines who scores it between the posts, and that will now be the game. Fiji just making that one defensive error. In Australia, they are so clinical. They will strike when you give them the opportunity, and they move up to 24 points now. Aussie looking good in this tournament. Yeah, once again, we are going to get to see New Zealand versus Australia in the final. Fiji Sevens used to be so good in 2017, long and entertaining. And now that it's fell down to this, says Chris, yeah, like, the tournaments don't feel the same without the likes of a Kenya, even a team like Canada, Samoa, USA, all not here. You kind of lose those big underdog victories, at least in the men's side of things. I don't think we're going to see too many, because most of the games are considered close to 50-50 at times. And the women's, hopefully we get a few big underdog victories throughout the season, but it doesn't look like it's going to be Fiji's day for this matchup, unless they were to score right now. But it has turned into a rolling maul. Australia, they will be more than happy to just leave this ball in there, and in fact, it's going to be ripped away from Soraya Paki. Fiji look better than Japan, to be honest, says Big Rick. Yeah, I think Fiji have had their better moments. They've also defended very nicely in this match at times, Fiji. But it seems like as the fatigue starts to set in a little bit more, that is when we've seen more mistakes defensively from Fijiana. Now running down the wing. It's going to be another try. Good pace shown by Caitlin Shave. And she will get another one for the Australians. They now move up to 31 points on the board. The score between the two sides in that last semi-final, New Zealand versus Japan, was 31-5, and that is where we are sitting now between these two sides. It would be quite interesting if it was actually even in terms of the same scoreline for both. Also hurts growing the sport, absolutely. More Kenya and USA play rugby, the more people get into rugby. Says Big Rig, oh well, disappointing defeat. But at least they reached the semis. Says Chris, yeah, it's absolutely a massive achievement for this Fijiana side to be through to this stage of the competition. Like, they beat France, and they also were able to beat, in the group stage, who was their other victory that they got? Might have been, who was it in their group? Was it USA that they managed to beat as well? I think it might have been, actually, yeah. They beat USA, and they managed to beat the French, which is two pretty decent victories. Definitely because both of those sides have done relatively well in recent seasons. Sevens was supposedly the future when it was added to the Sevens. World Rugby chucked too much dollars into it without truly growing the fan base. Says Studs, raise break to the line here for Fijiana. Trying to find another gap to be able to run through, but a great tackle around the halfway line, offloaded up, and now the space will open up. This surely should be the try for Fijiana. Yes, it will be. And that is a good breaking run. Oh, Baleki's, it's an interesting way of scoring a try. She pretty much tried to headbutt the ground, but it has worked. And it is another try there, and that it was right in the closing moments of this contest as well. I believe they may still have time for a restart. I've just got 12 on the board now. But 31-12, the way that this one was sitting. There we go. Bulavanaka says, Akta, welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. Fiji men in action, only around 40 minutes away, up against New Zealand. That is going to be a huge semi-final that we are covering on the channel. Yeah, very hard landing. There is no slide whatsoever in the turf, unfortunately. It does look like a bit of a safety hazard. At least just put a hose in that in-goal area for a little bit of time. That one's going to be kicked high by Fiji. Hasn't gone the 10 metres, so it will be Australia's free kick on the halfway line. Score actually 31-10. Fiji missing straight out in front of the posts for that conversion. And Australia, they are keen to just kick this ball out. They will take the victory 31 points to 10 in favour of Australia. So once again, it will be that Trans-Tasman final, New Zealand and Australia on the women's side of the draw. And in about 50 or maybe 60 minutes time, we will know exactly who is going through to the men's semis as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. That next live stream, we will be starting in around 9 minutes time. So be sure to stick around for that. And I will see you all for the next one.